Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Okay, I saw a video just now. It's kind of a sad video. It's some people had destroyed someone's property out in the country for no reason other than nobody was there, so they decided to destroy it, including killing some of the puppies. So it was a really sad video. That's about the extent I'm going to go into it. But it made me think about something. You know, the movie that just came out, The Sound of Freedom, about the abducted children sold into sex slavery. And I wanted to say something about what's going on the planet right now. The reason why there's so much chaos and darkness right now is because the Earth's energy it's off balance right now. It's out of whack. Alright, so I'm sure you're all familiar with this symbol. This is an Eastern symbol for the yin and the yang. I like to say yang, that's the way I like to say it, but it's pronounced yang. So here's essentially what's going on. So first of all, let me explain this symbol. So, there's light and darkness, good and bad, right? So you have to understand, even on the white side, within it, there's a little bit of darkness. So on the dark side, there's always a little bit of goodness, okay? So this has to do with energy. Now, what I'm talking about is male and female energy. Doesn't necessarily mean either one's dark or negative or bad at all. What happens is when the energy stops flowing, that's when things get bad. So most people look at yin and yang as it's supposed to spin in a circle one way or the other. No, it's actually supposed to go back and forth like a wash machine. That's the proper way energy flows. And I'll break it down even easier in a second. So we have our chakras. You got the main chakras, but there's a bunch of smaller ones, which I'm not going to talk about right now. So your chakras aren't just supposed to be open. They're supposed to be going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's here's what it is. Yin and yang is male and female energy. Okay, just like when you learned about electricity, you've got the male energy that comes from the factory, we call it Pacific Gas and Electric here. Your state or country might call it something different. And so this is really important to understand because this is just described using different symbols, different language, such as, in English you'll say hello, but in Spanish you'll say hola. That doesn't mean hola is demonic. It just means that it's a different language. And here's the thing that I've learned over the years is all we're doing is speaking different sub-languages without really realizing it. Now here's what I mean. So whether we're speaking a different language such as Chinese, Japanese, English, or whatever, it doesn't make it evil or demonic or bad. It's just a different way of pronouncing a word, okay? Or a meaning, giving a meaning to the same word. Hola means hello, etc. So there's also sub-languages. This is just some of them. There's a bunch of other ones, okay? Depending on what country, whether you're a scientist and what kind of science, because there's different languages in each of those too. Now here's what I mean. So first of all, there's what we call the predicate system that every human does regardless of what country or language you speak. So within every language, there are sub-languages. There's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and auditory digital languages. These are 4 sub-languages. So the visual people say, I see what you mean, look, picture, bright, and shiny. Auditory people, and I'm going to point to my ear, they say, listen to what I'm saying. I hear what you're saying. Tell me, talk to me. These are all auditory words that come out of your mouth to your ear. Kinesthetic words, they use words like I can get a hold of that concept, like touch and feel, like I have a strong feeling about that person. An auditory digital person will say, let me think about it, because they're in the computer digital thinking brain. Let me think about that. That's logical. That makes a lot of sense. So there's 4 sub-languages, and here's what people do. So a visual person will say, I see what you mean, or I can picture that, whereas an auditory person will be like, picture that? What are you talking about? I mean, dude, just talk to me. I mean, like what are you saying? I can't hear what you're saying. Okay? And they'll get in a big argument, even though they're agreeing and saying the same thing. Kinesthetic people will be like, picture what? No, I have a strong feeling about this. And the visual person Oh, you're in your feelings. Oh, your feelings. And this is what people do. This, I mean, politically, people do this all the time. They're just saying, "Oh, you're like, men, between men and women. Let's say, oh, she's listening to her feelings, her emotions, her intuition." All that means is she's using her right brain, which is the intuitive, emotional process, which means she's going to be feeling. I'm a very feeling kind of guy. I'm Italian. I was raised that way. It's very natural for Italians to be very kinesthetic and touchy-feely and hugging and all that stuff. And we also tend to use that language. And then there's the auditory digital people. Oh, they get really pissed when they get around kinesthetic people. Not only do they get pissed, but they go, "Oh, that doesn't make sense. You're not making any logical sense, right?" And I actually had someone go, "I hate it when people say, oh, feelings or touch and feel, or I can get a hold of that." Like, they get really pissed, and they also think you're stupid if you're not speaking their language. In fact, everyone does. If you're a bunch of kinesthetic people and then one visual person walks into the room, we're going to look at that person like, yeah, they're an idiot because they're not speaking our language. Now, we don't realize that. It's an unconscious feeling, literally, that, oh, you're just not our kind, and you're a little bit weird because you don't speak the way we speak. Now, there's an overall lesson here. I'm not trying to teach you these skills right now, so that's why I'm going fast through it. So then there's what I special in. There's left brain communication versus right brain. There's the male linear external language versus the internal female language, the internal spiraling circular expansive language, okay? It's a deeper, more meaningful language. So whenever I talk to people about the, I'm going to go into another language right now, by the way, about the yin and yang energy, the feminine or the masculine energy, I have to talk to most of my clients, because most of my clients are from Western countries such as Europe, United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, etc. So first of all, let's look at the symbol again. Well, this is the yin and the yang energy. That means the feminine yin and the masculine the yang. That's all it means. Now, let's go even more Western science than that. So in ninth grade, I took an electrician class in high school. And my friend's dad, Kevin Gallagher's dad, was the teacher. And one of the first things you learn is that if you look at like a wire, electrical cord that you plug in, it has two wires, one on one side, one on the other. Let's say the left and the right. So the energy that comes from the electric company, we'll call it, when it comes out of the electric company, that's called the male energy. I remember like learning about electricity. Like, why do they call it male and female? Like, even in high school, I heard it, but it just went over my head. I didn't really understand this. And they go, and then it comes into your home, and then it goes up through the light bulb, and then when it returns from the light bulb or whatever device you're using, that's called the female energy. So the returning energy is the female energy. The push external energy is male. The returning energy is the female energy. Now look at the symbol again. This is the same thing. Remember, this thing spins back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So if anywhere along the lines of the electrical cord there's a blockage, the whole thing will shut down. In fact, that's how you turn off the light switch, is when you first switch it, it literally blocks the energy and it pushes back and it uses extra energy to stop it. And that's what turns off the lights. Now let's go further into the Western science mind, because one thing I learned about men and Western science men, they really were like, oh, okay, well, as long as you're speaking logical, it's like, dude, it's all logical. The yin and yang is very logical, okay? So so now let's go to different sciences. Now here's the deal. Different Western sciences use different words for the same exact damn thing. So an eye doctor will say foveal versus peripheral. The peripheral is the feminine, the expanded energy. The foveal is the focused, looking down a tiny tube. The external visual going outside of your body, that's the foveal. So when you're using your right eye, you're using the foveal vision. When you open up and expand, your left eye receives. Again, that's the receiving energy, and then there's the push energy. Foveal versus peripheral, male and female. Now in psychology, we talk about the left brain versus the female brain, the external brain versus the internal brain, It's the same thing as foveal and peripheral. The right brain's the peripheral brain, the left brain's the foveal brain. Okay, so you got the left brain is the male brain, the right brain is the female brain. These are all just different ways of expressing the same exact thing. Hola, hello, same thing. But what do we all do, whether it's different countries, different sciences, different submodalities, which are sublanguages within the language? I see what you mean. See what I mean? What are you talking about, you weirdo? That guy's weird. See what I mean? He doesn't get it, because get it is like grabbing the kinesthetic. He doesn't get it. He doesn't feel what we feel. He just can't feel the vibe, bro. And then the auditory digital guy goes, you know what? I can't stand those people that say vibe and bro and feel, touchy-feely shit. There's just a bunch of weird people. They're not logical at all, man. Then you got the auditory person going, man, I can't hear what any of you are saying because no one's using the auditory language. And what do? We all vilify each other, including men and women. You get these men that are like, oh, there's those women talking about their feelings and emotions. Well, here's the deal. The right brain tends to be the more intelligent brain. It's the brain that puts the pieces together. If you're a very right-brained person, you move up the ladder from being a freaking lieutenant all the way up to colonel, captain, or captain, colonel, major, all the way up to being a general. You move up the ladder in the corporation. Even if you work at a grocery store, you move up the ladder because people that are right-brained go to the top because they can think and see abstractly and they have a broader range of communication. But if you're just very logical and left brain, you're stuck. You can only talk to people who are like this. And that really is the deal. Like, even if you have someone that's very right brain but doesn't have any access to the left brain, they're called airheads because you're not rooted, you're not grounded. You can't go down to the detail. Now, a really good general, he may not count all the bullets and the boots and the shoelaces in the entire army because that's what the privates do, and then the private gives it to their corporal who gives it to the sergeant, and then the sergeant counts how many tanks they have and how many. So you got the smaller guys counting the smaller things, the bullets, the shoelaces, how many freaking toothbrushes do we have? And then a sergeant, he's supposed to count all the tanks and how many men are in our units and how many units do we have, and then they give that up to their captain. Then their captain adds all that up and gives it up to the major. The major adds up all of his captains, like 10, 20 captains information, and then he hands it over to the freaking general. And the general goes, oh, okay, so we've got 2,000 tanks, 300 airplanes, and we've got 10,000 troops ready to go at a moment's notice. So that's how it works. Alright, I'm getting to it soon. I've got to put at least the basic pieces together for your brain to understand, so just follow along here, okay? So now, let's talk about another one. You got the male penis and the female vagina. Guess what? The male penis is the external linear, L-I-N-E, goes in a line, it goes external, and it's the push energy. It literally pushes into the vagina. Guess what the vagina is? It's the open and receiving energy. It receives the penis and it expands as the penis enters, it expands, and when she gets pregnant, it expands more and more and more, just like the female right brain's communication center. Are you guys starting to see a connection here? Now watch this. Everything comes down to internal and external energy. Oh my God, there's those words again. Internal. Imagine an arrow going down and then an arrow going up. That's it. Everything we learn in life, every single thing we learn, every single thing, from eating to pooping to drinking to urinating to everything. Listening to a teacher, receiving the information, and then either spitting it out at a job, which would be external, or teaching it to someone else, which would be external. Internal and external. Everything comes down to the yin and yang sign. Including your kitchen sink. The water that comes out of the spout, which would be the penis, literally, or the phallic symbol, is the external energy. So the water comes out of the spout, that's external, and then it receives in the, oh God, I forget what that's called, hold on. Well, ultimately it's received by the sink, but then at the very bottom there's that little circle, it's received down there, it goes down through the pipes. That would be the female energy. Now this is how everything flows. Think of a waterfall. The waterfall would be external energy, and at the very bottom would be the receiving energy, which would be the vagina. Everything comes down to this. Left brain communication, right brain communication, external versus internal. Everything from atoms and electrons all the way up to the moon, the way the sun works, everything works this way. And when the energy is flowing internal and external, here's another one. You're breathing. You breathe in, that's internal, right? And then you breathe out, that's the returning. So when energy is going in, that's penetrating you, and when it goes out, it's so technically when it comes in, it is internal, penetrating energy, and you're receiving it in your lungs, which would be the vagina, or the receiving energy. Left brain, right brain, external, internal, yin and yang. Sorry. Now I do a few things with this. I specialize in communication between men and women, so the energy can flow back and forth between them. So you can receive the energy, the communication, and then you can give communication. So it's push and pull. It's not push and pull. It's push and receive. Push and receive. That is what allows the energy to flow. Okay? And this allows men and women to connect correctly. So this image that you're looking at here, now I'm going to talk about the world. This isn't about men and women. It is, but it's about the world. It's about the universe. Why is the world so messed up right now? I'm going to get to that in a second. So if you look at this energy here, this is healthy energy between a man and a woman. They're in their own energy. The energy is flowing in and out. They're receiving an external energy. When you connect with someone who is connected to their own energy, that's a very healthy connection. But most people don't connect this way. Most people connect this way. Most people, oh yeah, you gotta have a mental connection. It's like, no, because mental connection is fine, but it has to be an open mental connection, which is what they're actually doing the other one. This is a closed, like laser beam to laser beam, lock on, forehead to forehead. This is when people are draining the energy from each other, and it's exhausting, and it's very irritating, and it's very frustrating. This comes from narcissists, because narcissists don't open up to the right brain. So here's what narcissists have done. They've infected the entire planet to keep people stuck in their left logical brain. Here's what a narcissist does though. When they find someone whose energy is flowing, they go up to them because they know they can literally feed off of them like pulling a car up to the gas station and pumping the fuel into the car. So they pull up to someone like an empath that's open and flowing, and they suck the lights out of you until you shut down, because it forces you to close off from your right brain, and now you're stuck in your forehead energy, your logical energy, okay, and which is what they're doing. So this is the male and female brains, the left brain and the right brain. A man on the left side, he has a left and a right brain, and a female on the right side has a left and right brain, which is represented by blue being male or masculine and pink being feminine or female. Now if you look at the words on the left, this is how the left brain functions. Okay, logical, linear, goes in a line. External, it memorizes words, dates, addresses. It's good for computer computations. It's good for math, business, and science. It's very good for rules, structure, and organization. It's the push energy or the external energy. And it's very boring to the female's emotions. Now the right brain is the creative, emotional, spiritual brain. I'm surprised I didn't put that in there. It's the internal energy. It's the descriptive. It's very colorful. The five senses. It should have been effortless, peripheral energy. It's the receiving energy. It's fun. It's exciting, and it's very sexual. Now, I'm about to lead up to what I'm talking about. We as a world are going through a transition that a lot of people don't want to freaking do, especially the narcissists. They're like, nope, not doing it. And we don't want to let anyone around us to do it either. But a lot of people that have been brainwashed by narcissists are, oh yeah, that's bad, that's evil, that's wrong. It's not evil, it's not bad. Here's what I mean. So in the Bible, Jesus said, he shall be married one unto she. And I remember just thinking, that was just really weird. And so I talked to my pastor, I go, this sounds very much like what hypnosis and NLP and psychology is talking about, whereas the left brain is the male brain, the right brain is the female brain. And when you have oneness, now Pastor Rex was talking about atonement at one, AT, So to atone is spelled A-T, at, and then O-N-E, one, at one. So the whole goal of all therapy, from NLP, hypnosis, psychology, communication to energy healing, is to get your energy to become at one, to flow. So what it means when Jesus said, "He shall be married one unto she," to be at one, or to atone, is the left and right brain need to be connected, and the energy needs to flow back and forth between the two of them. Most people are either left brain or right brain. Very few people function on a multi-level left and right brain flow. Now, who's worse at this? Men. Men are, as a majority, not all men, there's some men that are left and right brain, but most men don't have as many nerves to connect the left side and the right side. It's called the corpus callosum. It's a bundle of nerves between the left side and the right side. So when we have people that are, okay, I'm getting to it right now. This is it. Okay, so when we have people that are stuck in the left brain, it can cause a lot of chaos because they only see it from one side, from one processor. These are two different computer processors, and they give two different meanings and see things from two different perspectives. So if someone's stuck in their left brain, they can't even understand a right brain person. They're like, "What are you talking about? You don't make any sense to me." What? Emotions, feelings, you got an intuition, huh? What? I'm about to talk to you about the transition any second now. So here's what's going on. In the old way, okay, now we are not in the old energy, in the time frame 2023, we're past that. We've gone through the gateway. But a lot of people are struggling, and the earth is suffering because of this, and this is what I mean. On the planet, the way it used to be, the men were the masculine ones and the women were feminine, and they had nurturing energy. This is a very, very good thing. If you don't have nurturing energy on the planet, you get what we have now: drug use, crime. It's just everything is out of control. I don't want to use a bunch of bad words, but everything gets out of control, and there becomes a lot of darkness. Now here's what's happening. A lot of women are becoming very, very masculine. Men are very masculine. They don't want to open up to the emotional processor. So now you've got a bunch of masculine people running around, both the male men and the women, and there's no nurturing going on. So people are dealing with it by using toxins, alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, and computers and dating sites, and just like distraction techniques. So what is a distraction technique really? It's a blockage. It blocks you from dealing with your issue, which is in the right brain. So it's blocking the flow of energy between the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. The yin and the yang, the internal and the external flow, the breathing in and the breathing out is gone. So people are like, well, how do you heal people? Well, I find their blockages and then I release them. It's like a beaver dam. It blocked up all the water. So what happens is that this river or the stream that was flowing is suddenly backing up, and the river, the water's not flowing through. So here's what, when water is flowing through, believe it or not, but the rocks and the gravel and the earth, it acts as a filter. It filters out all the toxins, all the poop, everything, all the poisons, everything, and it becomes very fresh water to where you can drink it right out of the stream. But when the beavers block up the dam, all that goes away, and so the water behind it especially becomes very toxic. The pH balance, the acid and pH balance, it gets thrown off and it becomes more acidic. So now everything starts to die, including the fish and the worms and everything. It's the same thing with the human body. Think of this. Let's say somebody hits you in the arm and they're really angry at you. So anger went into your arm and now you got this blockage. If you don't release that emotion, those muscles, say in your forearm, they just kind of stay tight and tense your whole life. And then by the time you're 40 years old or 35 years old, you've got cancer. Well, why? Because the blood vessels weren't allowed to flow because they were being constricted by that muscle that was tight your whole life, that you may have even noticed, like, yeah, for some reason my muscle's tight, I don't know why. So the first thing I do is I watch people. I watch their energy, their body movement. I'm not going to explain all that right now. So what I first have to do is take out the negative energy. So there's sweeping motions. There's different ways of doing it. And then what I do is I bring healthy energy into it to cleanse it and to heal it, to allow the energy to begin to flow. And all of a sudden people are like, man, my left arm is a lot looser. I didn't even realize how tight it was until I worked with you, okay? So if you don't release that blockage, cancer starts. Maybe not right away, but down the road it will. That's essentially what cancer is. Your blood vessels were restricted, so blood couldn't flow through. So there's a blockage and a backup there, and it's going to cause problems. Whether it's abscesses or boils or infections or weakness or whatever, there's going to be problems if you don't clear that out and allow the energy to flow through. So now, when everything is relaxed and the negative energy is taken out, now the energy flows through the bloods, through the blood vessels, through the veins, and now it begins to sweep out naturally, cleaning out the old toxins and the stuff that it's naturally supposed to take out, and then it refreshes it with new blood and new healthy nutrients, and now you're at health. So here's the really cool thing about my work. A lot of people are like, God, that must be so hard to think. No. Because here's why. Because I think of it as a very simple thing. It's just like your kitchen sink. You got water that comes out, and then you got the receiving energy, the internal energy. Everything comes down to breathing in and breathing out. Your right eye is the external eye. The left eye is the receiving open eye. Every single thing, everything, including language and communication, there's external and internal. There's the giving and there's the receiving. And this is how your chakras are supposed to be. So the very first thing I'll do with people is I'll look at their chakras and I'll find out where the blockage is in, what needs to be opened up to allow the energy to flow in and out. It's not just a one-way thing. It's flowing in and flowing out, just like breathing. Now let's talk about communication. Communication is another way you can get people to flow energy between them versus one of them sucking the life out of you, or one of them pushing too much, or one of them blocking the energy. Is I teach people, like, okay, I'll give you one example. So let's call the predicate system visual, auditory, kinesthetic, auditory, digital. If someone goes, do you see what I mean? And if you go, I don't hear what you're saying, well, there's a blockage right there. But if you say, yeah, I see what you mean, their energy will click on, it'll open up, and all of a sudden be like, oh yeah. So the minute you speak their unconscious predicate system, their unconscious mind opens up to you and they can understand you, and now the energy begins to flow. That's just one way that we can help people to flow their energy better. I mean, another one is I teach people how to breathe in and out while the other person is talking. All you do is breathe in and breathe out while they're talking. You don't have to do that deep, but you deep breaths. So actually, okay, watch this. When you breathe in deep and then breathe out deep, on an unconscious level, that person will go into rapport with you and they'll start to do the same thing. Now, a lot of my male clients are like, holy shit, is that why women are always uptight around me because I don't breathe? I'm like, that's exactly why I'm telling you frickin' breathe. And some male clients, I'll have to use that for fucking breathe because they're just so used to not breathing. So you got to breathe in before you talk, and then as I'm talking, the air comes out. So you don't breathe in, no, because you want to breathe in and then speak on the oxygen as the air goes out of your lungs. That's the appropriate way to communicate, and all of a sudden, you start to feel better, and your lungs begin to relax, and your body begins to relax, because once you begin to oxygenate your system, your muscles begin to relax too. And then they begin to open up. Okay? All right, so now let's look at this. Oh, by the way, these charts are from my book, my manual, Cracked Female Code. It's a course for men on how to learn how to communicate effectively with women for romance, love, and seduction. But it's the good kind of seduction. It's the open, honest, natural. The female, technically it's called the female form of seduction, because this is what women find to be very natural. Okay, so this is just for my course, but it applies to the planets, because there's a transition we're going through that I haven't explained. I explained the first part where it used to be mostly women were very nurturing, which nurtured the children and the husband and allowed the energy to flow. But we as a planet are not necessarily being that way. So now here's where we're shifting to. He and she shall be married one unto each other. That means the left and the right brain need to both be open to each other. That's what Jesus was talking about. So essentially what's happening on the planet is we have an absolute need for men and women to begin to allow their own energy to begin to flow within themselves, okay? So here's one thing that I do. Okay, now look at this chart. Okay, now women, by the way, I teach men to do it the women's way first, because if they don't, then the only person that gets satisfied is a man. Alright, so I'm not going to go in detail. This isn't really an instructional course right now. It's an understanding for greater understanding of what's happening to the planet and why there's so much chaos and darkness and toxins and all that. So here's what's going on. So, ladies, I want you to look at the male one, the blue one. Look at the bottom. See where it says number 1, physical? That really means his sex, connecting sexually. See, once a man has an orgasm, where it says physically number 1 at the bottom there, that opens up and allows him to open up to his heart, his emotional, and thus he gets emotional fulfillment. Now here's the thing, ladies. Men are listening. Emotional fulfillment, what's that? They have no clue. It takes me hours and hours and even days to break this down over and over in different ways for his brain to go, oh shit, is that what she wants? Yes, women want emotional fulfillment. The problem is they can't get it through sex. They can't go, so look at the ladies. They can't go from number 3, which is the groin, up to the heart, which is number 2. Honestly, this is just like the kitchen sink. You have the clean water coming in through the water spout, and then it goes down in the sink, okay? That's the healthy way. You don't want it to back up through the pipes. That's nasty. That's toxic. And that's exactly what men are doing on an unconscious level without realizing what they're doing. Because ladies, here's the point. So what do men want to do? They want to connect from their number 1, their groin, to your groin. The problem is she can't go up. She has to go from forehead number 1, connect number 2 to heart, and then number 3 physical. Alright, so here's what I do to make sure this energy flows. Because when you do it in the female way, she'll do it in the male way, and then both of their energies are opened up and they begin to flow in between each other. And now this energy begins to build and build, giving you more energy versus the old way where you guys walk away feeling frustrated and literally physically and exhausted and tired. Alright, so once again, women, you're going to understand what I'm about to say. Men won't. They have to take the course. Their brain is not wired this way. It's going to be a foreign language. It's going to be a foreign language to them, okay? So here's what happens. I teach men now look at the male symbol. See how it goes over to the right like that? Well, what we do is men connect, say, to your head, right? Going from his head to your head, so they connect mentally for mentally stimulating communication. Again, men won't understand what that is. So I teach men how to give women mentally stimulating communication and connect first on a mental level, so she can get to know you, see if you're a psycho, where you're from. It's just all surface level information. It's actually logical information. And then once you get mentally stimulating communication, that'll eventually pop open. It's like a lockbox that once it's filled all the way to the top, it pops open, then you connect to your heart. Now I'm on the right side going down to number 2. And then what I do is I teach men how to drop down to their heart, or technically open up to their right brain, the emotional, spiritual, creative brain. Why? So he can learn how to speak the internal language. So that means you go from your forehead internally inside your emotions and your physical feelings in your body. So I teach him how to drop down into his heart, which allows you to drop in your heart to give you emotionally fulfilling communication. Once that is filled up like a big bowl, it's filled up with enough emotionally fulfilling communication, it pops open. It's like a lock that Mother Nature made. It pops open, and then you connect with him sexually, and that's the arrow going underneath up to his groin. And then when he has an orgasm, alright, so then what happens is when you guys have physical sex, and so connecting from groin to groin, your 3 to his 1, he eventually has an orgasm, which allows him to open up to his emotions, his right brain, and now he is having a mental, emotional, and physical fulfillment, and thus you did too in the beginning, mental, emotional, and then physical fulfillment, which leads you both to feeling emotionally fulfilled and content. This is literally the cycle of life, and when you do it this way, the energy begins to flow. People will live longer. People will live healthier. There won't be cancer. But human beings are not treating each other this way. They're treating each other like that one image, which I'll pull up here. So this is causing the tug of war where everyone's trying to steal each other's energy. The problem is there's plenty of energy for everyone. There's an unlimited supply of energy in the universe. Like, you don't need to steal it from each other. You're supposed to naturally open up and gather it. This is what I teach humans how to do in my courses, how to open up and just naturally receive. And then you'll have completion and fulfillment. Now look at this image. So here's the deal. You've got energy flowing in, flowing out, and then flowing back in. So going around, right? But believe it or not, but this is the exact same image if you put the Earth in the middle. This is how the energy is supposed to flow on the planet. So now, because of the off balance, it's not just, it's because of this it's causing the off balance. I said that in the wrong way, the opposite way. We're gone through a transition where it's not supposed to be these old gender roles where it's men work and women are nurturing, pregnant and barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen or whatever, right? So what that means is both men and women are going to have to learn how to flow and open up to the other side of the brain and do external and internal, so breathing in and breathing out. And you're going to have to not only learn how to nurture yourself, and that's really what it comes down to, is we're also supposed to be able to learn it well enough to be able to also nurture other people. That's the only way we're going to heal the planet. It's not quite the right way to say it. What I'm saying is we are going through a transition where this is what we're supposed to be doing now. We are supposed to now take care of ourselves. I don't mean just like not take care of anyone else, but we're supposed to be healthy. In our energy, we're supposed to become nurturing within ourselves. We're supposed to also have push energy, so in and out energy. This is the next evolution for mankind, men and women, humankind. Because right now we have way too much male energy. Now I don't mean men, but really it's women. Right now our women population, just in masses, millions and millions of women, are becoming very left brain logical masculine. And this is throwing off the energy balance of the planet, okay? Now, I'm not saying it's bad for women to become logical. I think it's in fact I think it's a very good thing, because it's good to be left and right brain. The problem is women are just leaving their right brain and they're just becoming left brain. They're disconnecting from their own feminine natural energy. That's what I'm talking about. Now here's the funny thing. What do I do in my course? I teach men how to open up to the right brain, but not just the right brain. Here's what happens to men. When a man becomes opens up to his right brain, he becomes more of a masculine male. Now I don't mean linear logical. Here's what I mean. The modern male for the last 100, 200 plus years has become stuck in his left brain. The left brain is the little boy brain. It's the thinker brain. There's no intuitiveness. There's no being fine-tuned and tuning into your farm animals, tuning into your horse and being aware of where they're at emotionally. The modern male has completely lost that, which means he can't tune into his wife. He can't notice when his children are sad, but they don't tell him. Where if you go back 100 plus years, a lot of fathers and grandfathers were very aware when their wife was upset, even though she didn't say anything. They could feel it. That's a right brain process. So right now, because of computers, taxes, and all that other stuff, money and roads and rules and laws and structures, we've become a very left brain. Not just American society, but Western society is stuck. And our energy is not flowing. We are dying like a cancer because of it. What I'm thinking of doing is setting up classes to where I just teach people how to flow their energy, how to breathe, how to be internal, how to ground themselves energetically, to be emotionally grounded. Our world needs this more than ever right now. I'm going to leave it right at that. I hope you guys got a greater understanding of what's going on with the planet, what's going on the macro level, all the way down to the micro individual level. God bless you guys. Remember, click subscribe. Click that like button, make a comment if you'd like, and I'll see you guys in the next video. God bless you.